Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. For this week's podcast episode, we are giving you guys another recap because we had a fun weekend going to Houston to the Jonas Brothers concert. Vlog will be coming up this weekend as you guys are listening to this episode.
And whenever we do fun little trips like this or we're out of town for the weekend, we always just like doing little recaps. Just
and give you like the real like rundown of how things go. Obviously, we try and record stuff for the vlog, but not everything gets in there. And I think it'll be super fun to give like these specific details about the concert because there's only so much you can get footage-wise of the concert, or like
copyright issues. You can't get like the full experience. So, not that this is going to be the full experience. You have to go to the Jonas Brothers concert to get that.
But hopefully our goal will be that by the end of this, you want to scope out the remaining tour stops for the concert and get some tickets yourself.
Before we get started, we always like to do weekly spotlights as well, which I mean our weekly spotlight is probably just this past weekend, so like that's this whole episode. So moving on from that, how about a book update?
I have 0 updates. I think I already told you guys I was reading Book of Night. I'm like maybe 50 pages in. It's just taking me a while to A, find time to read, and then B, I'm having a hard time getting into this book because I've been like, I can't even say I don't like fantasy anymore because I've been getting more into some fantasy. But this one's just more urban fantasy, if my terms are lining up appropriately, where it's like still like the real world.
Like if you're reading fantasy, you kind of just want to like be in fantasy.
Yeah. So I'm not loving it right now, but I will at least try and keep reading it.
I am still reading Recursion by Blake Crouch. I think I'm getting close to halfway through the book. I'm
curious to know your final thoughts because
way through it.
All I've really heard is like, so I'm kind of confused.
Here's the like premise. I don't want to give anything away, but like it's not really being given away because you find out pretty early on in the book that like this is what happens. But the premise of the book is, and like Blake Crouch's books, the 2 that I've read now, and like I'm only halfway through this second one, like they're just kind of meant to like be mind bending and like they're gonna be a little confusing probably. But anyways, so you start reading the book and it's like following this police officer who's called to go like try to talk someone off like the roof because she's getting ready to jump and commit suicide. And then she's saying that she has FMS, which is called like something memory syndrome. I can't even remember the name of it, but it's like something that like people have like heard about people having, where they start having memories of like this false life that they like haven't lived, and so
and like grieve that life that they didn't have.
And because it's like to them they have like that was like their life, but they know it wasn't their life, but it's also like the memories like are so in such real detail. And so she's saying like she has this husband and she went and visited him, but he's married to someone else, and so it's really like she ends up jumping. And then the police officer starts to like just get like this weird feeling and like kind of starts to think like he has it. And basically this will spoil anything because like you find this out early enough in the book. If you're that curious and don't want to know, then like skip ahead a little bit. But like there is this machine that was made that if you think of a memory and then use the machine, it then sends you back to said time, and it can branch off into a separate timeline. So now
Blake Crouch loves branching of timelines. Yeah. Is that what you're learning?
Yeah. So those false memories are not false memories. The second life they lived comes back to them once it reaches that point in the timeline where they went back. And then
okay, you can pause there.
That's
I'm like already getting confused.
So I'm like reading the book being like, I think I'm getting it, but also like there's so many layers now.
What level of, because this kind of reminds me of the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle.
I don't think it's that confusing because like I think there's a lot more I could think about, but like in terms of it being necessary for me to understand and keep moving forward in the book, it's probably not necessary. But I just keep thinking of like, if this is how this world works, then like what about XYZ? But I can't think about it too much because then I start getting confused and it's not as necessary to the plot. So
okay.
So I don't think it's like as confusing, but yeah.
Okay. Any other book
I
updates?
want to finish this book before we travel again on Friday. We're going to visit Maggie in Cincinnati this weekend. So I'd like to have it done by then, and then hopefully have something on my Kindle I can read.
Is
my goal.
This is like, I would love to be finished by Cincinnati too, because I want to probably bring a book for our travels, and I don't want to read. I haven't given it a full fair shot. I'm not completely opposed to DNFing it. I would like to at least get to page 100, because I feel like if I've read like a third of the book and I'm still not liking it, then I can move on. But I hate DNFing a book, so we will see.
Yeah. So
also we have a 4-day work week this week, because so we only have 3 days left because of our travels coming up, and that's just exciting. 4 days on, 4 days off.
What we're doing,
and then 4 days on again,
is I shifted my next week's schedule.
I get 4 days off.
So we're taking a flight, a one-way on Friday, just because like we didn't want to take as much PTO, although like I in theory could have done the same thing now. Anyways,
I was just realizing they're leaving on Friday, aren't they?
Yeah, but like we get half a day now, and
it's just
Mom
funny.
already bought the flight tickets.
I know, we already have the tickets at this point, but I was like, oh, I guess we could have literally driven with them at this point.
I think in theory, like I think I wanted to just take like a half a day at first and do like a day and a half, and then like, but I've decided that like I need to actually just like bank a lot more of my vacation time, so I'm only taking one vacation day and then shifting my schedule. So that is what I decided to do. But then on Monday we're just driving back with them. So
we should make those cookies at some point soon. Maybe not this week, since we're only in town for a couple more days, but I was thinking, okay. I know you hate fall.
Hold on. What cookies?
Oh, I was talking about like the brown butter cookies.
That's what I thought you were talking about. What were you saying about me hating fall?
Well, because I know you hate fall, but I'm like, sometimes like the idea of like sitting down and like snacking on stuff and watching like a fall movie sounds nice, but then I'm like, well, Megan wouldn't want to do that.
I like really don't like any fall movies.
But like I watch these like TikToks that are, Halloween fall vibes, and I'm like, maybe that could be kind of nice.
I could maybe be convinced if you really want to.
What, like, if you had to pick a Halloween movie to tolerate, what would you pick? You hate Hocus Pocus, right?
I probably hate Halloween Town more.
What movies are there? Scary movies are out of the question. We don't like scary movies. Halloween Town. I don't like Twitches. I don't even know if that's Halloween, really.
Anyways, I was going to say something when you were talking about food.
Are you talking about the peanut butter cookies?
Yes. Someone needs to... You remember the cookies too, right? Like, okay. Someone needs to figure out what happened to... I am pretty sure Nestle had a version, but like anyone could have had a version. There used to be cookies you could buy, the ones that are just pre-made dough where you piece them up, put them in the oven, and bake them. I know those cookies still exist today, but what does not exist, and has not existed for like 8+ years, I swear, are the same exact thing as like a chocolate chip cookie, except instead of chocolate chip, it's just peanut butter cups. That's it.
I thought it had chocolate chips too. Did it not?
Well, it could, whatever. But like the peanut butter cups, they had peanut butter cups in them.
Not peanut butter
Flavored dough.
No, like peanut butter kisses or whatever.
Yeah, the cups. Those cookies existed, and they were like my favorite cookies ever. And I have been searching the internet. I've been searching like what happened to peanut butter cup cookies, and like you cannot find anything online. If anyone knows where you can find them or
what happened
to them,
let Megan know.
Please tell me, because they don't make them anymore. Okay, so we'll start on Saturday morning, because here's what I would suggest. First of all, background to like why did we even do this? Because like Bruno Mars, he's only performing in Las Vegas. It made sense that if we wanted to go see him, we had to go to Vegas.
Jonas Brothers have had concerts that have been and will be much closer than Houston. We would have loved to have gone to the Omaha show. That would have made so much sense for us. It's only a 2-hour car ride. All that. Fortunately, we loved going to the wedding. But our friend had a wedding in Fargo, North Dakota on that Saturday, which made us unable to attend the concert.
And then there's obviously other closer locations. They have a couple in Minnesota. They have a couple in
Chicago.
They have like one in Chicago. Maybe some closer ones still. But they were on like Fridays or Saturdays, in which we would need to...
Or Sundays.
Or yeah, I meant Sundays. in which we would need to like take some PTO, and we didn't really want to do that. We're both kind of limited on PTO we want to take for different things, so we didn't really want to spend any PTO to go to the concert, therefore leaving us to look for the Saturday shows. And then it kind of became...
That really limits.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of weekday shows, or like Friday or Saturday shows where I can't get to them without taking PTO. So it kind of limited the concert options, and then it kind of just came down to which flights could we make work for the cheapest, and Houston was the ticket. So that's why we went.
Left Saturday morning, so our flights were basically 24 hours apart. We left Des Moines around 5 a.m., and then we left Houston also around 5 a.m.
Made for some short nights.
Yeah. So
some short nights,
especially with having a dog, like, had we not had a dog, I would have tried to have gone to bed around like 9 probably, because we got up at 3:30 to go to the airport.
However, Vegas decides when he wants to sleep.
Yeah, and we are obligated to bend to his every will. I mean, also just like it wouldn't have made sense to make him go to bed at like 9, because it would have been more annoying for us because his clock would have been not synced up to go to bed, so he would have just probably been barking for forever.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't have slept anyways.
So we got a good 4 hours of sleep before we went to the airport. Got to the airport, tried to sleep on the way. I don't really think I slept
actually pretty well on both flights.
But like I think I slept a little bit, but like I never felt like that was a good nap that I got in.
So my strategy on flights, I can't, even if I know I'm going to sleep, I can't not be listening to anything, because then I feel like I just start thinking. Mm-hmm. Versus if I'm listening to usually a podcast or something, then I'll start like just listening to the podcast, and then I'm like, well, if I at least don't fall asleep, then I'm like interested, entertained in whatever I'm listening to. I didn't catch a single thing on any of those podcasts that I was listening to. Like I was out. I downloaded probably like 5 episodes of different like Dateline, Mile Higher stuff, and I think they all like ran through from like my sleeping, and I was like, I don't know what any of these were about, so I could probably re-listen to all of those. But I just feel like it helps me fall asleep a little bit easier than like nothing.
We had a layover in Dallas, and then it was only like a 45-minute layover. We basically we got Starbucks because we were like, okay, now it's time to eat breakfast, and then we went to the gate, and it was basically getting ready to board.
Also, just like random little side thing.
Is it about groups? No, just kidding.
When we were at our layover at the gate, for whatever reason, these 2 girls were doing like a photo shoot. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, I'm all for anyone like getting whatever picture shot they want, but I could tell these photos like were not the moment. And so I was just like, what are you doing? You're standing in front of like this giant window that's obviously going to make you backlit. And like you're just in the airport. So like I just couldn't tell what they thought they were doing.
What I'm starting to be confused by, because like for all 4 of our flights there and back, we were group 9 of 9, which I don't care. Like that's fine. And I also feel like I've seen a Mythbusters episode where like it doesn't matter how you board the plane, like it's not going to get boarded any faster no matter what you do. So like I don't really care. But what is the purpose of giving people different groups if you say group 1 board, no one stands up, group 2 no one stands up, group 3, group 4, groups 1 through 4 go ahead and start boarding, and there are 5 people out of the 200 plus people on the plane.
Those are, I think technically that's usually like priority, so I do think you have to pay for that. Okay. And so I'm guessing most people don't pay for that, but even then I feel like even like 5 through 9 is still like 5, 6, 7,
and then also
like
everyone stands
8
up
9.
For 8 9.
Okay,
what are we doing? What was the point of that? That's how I feel. At the end of the day, I don't think it really matters, but it annoys me when I'm sitting there and they're calling groups and no one's standing up.
I agree. I also hate when people are like standing waiting for their group to get called, and then I'm like, are you in line?
You know what else I hate? In my opinion, the plane deboarding process is straightforward. It goes front to back. Each row, like, you gotta wait your turn. The rows in front of you gotta get out first. That's just the matter of exiting a plane. However, when you first land, everyone kind of stands up. Even if you're in the full back part of the plane, they can be in the aisle before like the person in the window seat is going to be able to get in the aisle. But you have to wait for everyone else to like file out, in my opinion. So tell me why some people think that just because they're the first person in the aisle, they get to just barrel on past people. That is not the rule. That is not what you do. There was one person, because, like, the doors hadn't even opened to the plane yet.
That's what I was going to say.
The doors had not opened to the plane yet.
Like, no one can go anywhere.
Up, and people need to get their stuff out of the overhead bins, but we can't get out of the plane yet, so some people are still sitting down because you can't get out of the plane yet. And so the person who was sitting, and me and Ciera were sitting, like, window and middle, and then there was someone else sitting in the aisle seat, and she had stood up and was just, like, standing because she's going to wait once people start leaving for everyone in front of her to leave. And then there was this person a couple rows back that was very condescendingly.
She's like, ma'am, can you please?
Nice. Ma'am, is there a reason you're not moving forward? Because there was a giant gap between her and the next people that were standing because the other people hadn't stood up yet. And, I mean, the girl wasn't going to, like, reason with her, be like, I'm standing here and not moving, you know? So she just kind of, like, backed into the aisle and, like, let the people, like, measle their way forward. The
only time I feel like it makes sense is if you have a connection. These people did not voice that they had a connection they had to make, so I just feel like they were wanting to just get off as soon as possible.
And it's like, so do we
all want to get off.
So do we all. So we all are wanting to get off the plane.
No one wants to stay here longer than we need to. And then was it the way down there that we had that flight issue where we were held for longer?
Yes.
I was like asleep basically, so I was like, whatever. But we did, like, sit on the plane for basically an hour and a half after we had boarded for our second flight, before we could leave.
I kept, like, going in and out of sleep, and I'd be like, we're still here?
Yeah, I'd be like, dang. Are we on the ground? There was one time I woke up, and I didn't have, like, any memory of taking off. And I feel like usually takeoff wakes me up because, you know, it's a pretty jerky process. And, like, we were, like, smooth flying at that point. So I was like, are we still on the ground? And I was like, oh, my God, we're in the air. So that was nice.
Really? You didn't wake up for
yes.
takeoff?
I don't think I did. I tried to, like, think. I was like, did I wake up and then fall back asleep super fast? Or I was like, was that the other flight? And I just now couldn't remember. I don't know. So technically, I could have been woken up and then I just don't remember it. But I didn't remember having
there was
been up
one
in the air.
Flight where, like, usually I feel like I can tell when we're, like, descending and getting close to the ground. But then, like, we just landed. And I was like,
no, same.
I was like, I didn't know we were landing right now.
Yeah, we both looked at each other for that one because we were like, oh, shoot. Yeah. Anyway, so this was, like, the issue was something to do with the window. It either, like, had an issue and that had been fixed, or there wasn't an issue, but we had to get, like, a piece of paper that said there was no issue with the window before we could take off. And that's, like, annoying, like, just bureaucratically, like, all the steps you have to go through to, like, leave. But, like, I get it. And so I wasn't going to be annoyed, but, like, there were people on the plane that were annoyed.
And it's like, they can't do anything.
What do you want them to do? The flight attendant right here can't do anything. The pilot can't do anything. Like, unfortunately, it's like one of those things where it's like, it's not my job to do X, Y, or Z. Their job is to wait for someone else to do their job. Mm-hmm. And who knows who that is.
We got to Houston around 11
I try to be
so.
very understanding when it comes to people, like, being annoyed with, like, jobs and stuff, because I know there are plenty of things that people get annoyed with me for like, related to work stuff that I'm like, I literally have no control over that. Mm-hmm. So, sorry. So, I try to be very mindful of that.
We got to Houston around 11 or so. This was our first time in Houston. Third time in Dallas? Or third time in Texas? I don't know. We've really only visited Texas for a PT conference in San Antonio, but we've been to the Dallas airport a couple times. But Houston was fine. I had no other reason to go there. I don't know if I'll be back, but it did the trick for the show.
So we got to our hotel. We stayed at the Embassy Suites. Pretty nice place, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know if our room, like, was upgraded or anything.
Like, it seemed like they're in the middle of renovations, but, like, was our room a renovated room? I kind of don't think so, but...
Like, our room was nice.
Yeah.
Like, just, it was spacious. I was like, I didn't expect that we paid for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I tried to pay for the cheapest thing I could, so.
We didn't have any specific plans for that day. I did find out that the playoffs were going on, so the Astros were playing the Twins, and that was going on nearby, so some people were walking around their Astros jerseys and stuff. We went to, there's a Korean festival going on.
Yeah, it was kind of nice because we were just in the Uber pulling up to the hotel, no plans obviously, and then we saw this, like, nice big park area with, like, a lot of people going to it, so it looked like a festival was going on. And so we were like, oh, we could just walk there because it's literally a block from the hotel and it's something to do. And so we were there for a little bit. Like Megan said, it was a Korean festival. I can't say that we've tried Korean food, but neither of us wanted that to be like our first. I was hungry
and I wanted like a full meal.
So we didn't try any of the Korean food. Let us know if we should try any Korean food at some point, though. I've heard Korean barbecue is very good. I just don't really know what it is.
Yeah. And if they use actual barbecue, which I don't know if they do. I don't love barbecue.
Like barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
So we don't know what Korean barbecue entails. Open to trying at some point, though. However, we just wanted to like go to a restaurant and try some food that we knew that we would probably like. So we found, it was called Papacito's Cantina, I think.
Yeah. Really good.
It was so good. It was like, I think it was just Mexican, right? So we go in.
Chips and salsa were amazing. Amazing.
I used to not be, as I've gotten older, I am appreciating Mexican food a lot more than when I was younger. I used to not like it at all. And then I'd be very picky with like what I would eat specifically. I used to not like salsa at all. And now that we've, opened up our minds and our palate, I'm like, chips and salsa is actually very good. Especially like the chips. They were so good. They were like thin, crispy, salty. Flaky. So good. Salsa was good too. And it's also like free. So you got to appreciate that with a meal. It's like a free appetizer.
And I just both got like some tacos, some rice.
It was so much
really
food,
good,
though.
Really filling. We also got dessert, also really filling.
Well, we saw it. I was just like willing to ball out. I was like, let's go like get whatever we want. And so I kind of had a sweet tooth that I wanted to fill at some point, whether that was like at lunch or like doing something afterwards. So we were kind of looking around to see what sort of like sweet dessert type areas were around. There was a Shake Shack, which then Megan goes, well, what do they have there? Like shakes? And I was like, probably. It's Shake Shack. But we decided they had like, it wasn't even like the dessert that we had wasn't on the menu. It was on this picture card on the table. And it just looked so good. It was like 3 brownies stacked on top of each other. It's in the vlog if you guys want to see it. A little scoop of ice cream on top with a candle, because I'm guessing it's supposed to be like a celebration thing. And then just some like cocoa coated pecans.
Pecans.
And like whipped cream thing. And it was all so good. The nuts were good. The whipped cream is kind of weird. I think it was like homemade. It was kind of grainy, but it was still good. It was a little bit thicker than normal whipped cream. And the brownie and the ice cream were obviously very good too. So that was just like, sometimes you need a good like restaurant dessert.
Mm-hmm. Then at this point,
and it has strawberries too.
Yeah, can't forget that.
It was good.
At that point, we kind of like, I wouldn't say, like, I'm not sure how walkable Houston is, but I was kind of like, I don't really know where else to go or what else to walk to. And we didn't like want to keep Ubering places because we didn't really have like anything specific we were trying to do. So we kind of sat outside for a little bit, and then we're like, dang, it's kind of nice out. Like, the sun's hitting now, and it wasn't earlier. So we just decided to go to the pool and the hot tub at our hotel. So we did that for a little bit. I caught a little bit of a nap, which was very nice because, I wasn't running on a whole lot of sleep. And then, because keep in mind, we were only like a block or two from the Toyota Center where said concert was taking place.
So we were like looking at the venue. We were trying to see, initially on the sign, it had like this flashing screen of changing events happening at that venue coming up soon. So we were like just looking at it saying, oh, like the Jonas Brothers one probably pop up soon. And it wasn't at first. It was showing like stuff like a week out, 2 weeks out, whatever. So then we start turning away, just heading back to the hot tub. And then like, I don't know if we both turned to each other at the same time or like if one of us noticed first.
I feel like you noticed first.
But then I was kind of like, it's like in that moment where like you like hear something familiar and you're kind of like, if it's a song, you kind of like sing along or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, like I hear like Little Bird right now. And I was kind of like, in my head. And then I was like, wait, why do I hear it? And so then I turned to Megan and I was like, are they sound checking right now? And then Megan heard it too. And then we were like, oh my God, they're sound checking. And we did record some stuff in our vlog. I think you can maybe just barely hear it in the video clips.
I think you can hear it, but I don't know if you can make it out. I could hardly make it out when I was like there. I just knew I heard them.
Yeah. And so then we were like freaking out because we're like, oh my God, like that's, I think it was Nick Jonas singing at that point when we were listening to them for that particular song. And so we were just really excited. It was hyping us up for the concert because we were like, we're going to be hearing that tonight.
Then we went and got ready.
I took a nap.
we DIY'd our shirts to this concert, by the way. I also, this is funny thinking back on it, because like when you're trying to think of like what do you want to wear to the concert, I follow Sarah Caroli, and I saw that she went to the Jonas Brothers concert because she posted when she went to it, and she was wearing like an I love Nick or Joe shirt, and then her friend was wearing like I think she was wearing I love Joe, and her friend was wearing I love Nick. And in my mind, I kind of felt like since they went to the New York show, like they did it because of that. And I think I didn't know that this was like a broader thing that a lot of people were going to be doing, because I was kind of like, I'm stealing that idea from you, girl. It was your idea. No one else thought of this. Come to find, like, a lot of people at the show had the same, like, there's I love the Jonas Brothers, I love Hot Dads, I love their names, obviously. Not, like, it was not unique, which is good, because then I didn't feel like I was stealing anyone's idea. But if I was just like, I thought, like, Sarah Curley, I thought you
she
came up
invented
with
it.
this.
I was very pleased with her outfits. I was very comfortable for like the entire night.
If you need a simple shirt for like an iron-on, Target has a lot of basics.
I am in the process. I started picking off the letters, and I need to like spend more time trying to do that, because it's just like a white cropped t-shirt that I most likely will not wear I Heart Joe again. So I'm trying to see if I can pick it off. It's kind of working a little bit, but
it's also $5 if you do want another one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Depends on what you want to do.
I could throw it away.
What you want to spend your time doing.
But
I think if I were to throw it in the washer, it would just all come off. And I don't know.
The washer, that would be kind of
so
a
I
mess.
kind of just left it.
I saw you just put it there.
I was like,
trying to pick it up and then wash it. What else after that? So we headed out. The venue opened at like 6. We got in line pretty early. Just because, like we said, we had nothing to do. No plans.
Nothing to do
just
but
the
go
concert.
to the concert.
And we had planned to like do dinner at the concessions at the concert. And so it was at the Toyota Center. So they had quite a few concession selections. We didn't walk around like a ton of the venue to like see what all they had. So they had a Pizza Hut, and then just a generic like burgers, chicken tender, popcorn concessions area. So I got a chicken tender basket.
I hope they were out of the cups they normally use.
Well, it's kind of ridiculous. They were uncanning like every soda and pouring into a plastic cup.
Is that what they were doing?
Yes.
What was wrong with their fountain drinks?
I don't know. They didn't use the fountain machine.
Interesting.
So that's why like our plastic cups were like half full.
Well, I didn't see them do that, and so I went to go grab my drink, and I was kind of like,
you're kind of skimping me on
this.
Like,
what are you doing? Interesting. The concert, we got in like shortly after 6 because that's when they let people in the building. The opening act started at 7, and then the Jonas Brothers concert came on at 8. Ciera and we decided to splurge a little bit, and we got ourselves some floor seats for this concert.
It was mostly, here's a combination of things. We were saying, if we are going to travel all the way to Houston to go to this concert, like we went to Omaha for our last concert for them, and so
we were in the nosebleeds,
whatever. And the nosebleeds were fine, like it was still a good time, but we saw them, but we couldn't see them, you know? It could have been anyone down there.
Yeah.
Charading as Nick Jonas, and I wouldn't have been any the wiser. And so I was like, if we're spending all this money to, you know, book a hotel, book a plane ticket.
And arguably, I would say, like, we care more about the Jonas Brothers than we do, like, Bruno Mars, for example. And, like, we probably paid more for Bruno Mars tickets than we did for these floor seats even still.
And so we were like, let's just go for the floor seats.
Because it was, like, $300 for floor seats each. And we paid over $300 to go to Bruno Mars, like, not even particularly close because it's such a limited capacity. So, like, his tickets are expensive no matter what. And we just decided, you know.
And, like, we knew we had, like, floor seats and stuff. Obviously, we, like, bought the tickets. But I feel like when we got there, I was like, the stage is right there.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And it's funny because Ciera was, like, she was asking me, she was, like, talking. She was like, wait, do you, like, know, like,
how they enter the stage? Because for the first concert that we went to, they descended from the heavens. They were on this, like, contraption that came down from the rafters. And they came out singing Roller Coaster. And so, an iconic entrance. So, I had known from TikTok that with the stage setup, they basically all just, like, emerge from the depths of the stage after, like, some fog and stuff kind of hides where they pop up. And I'd asked Megan, I was like, oh, do you know, like, how they come on stage? And so she was like, well, no. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell you. And so it wasn't until, like, when did you have that moment where you were like...
Fog started, like, when the fog started, like, going, like, at the corners of the stage, I started like slapping Ciera, and I was like, did they just come up like right here? Because I didn't think I was gonna get that right away.
But I was like, yeah. And you can see that
Nick's side was our side.
Yeah.
Like, they all went around a little bit, but like Nick's side was our side, which was good for me because I'm a Nick girly.
It was funny though because
And he's the one that came up on that side.
Yeah. In our vlog, also, if you want to see some good footage of just them, nice and close. But what was I gonna say?
I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I like lost my train of thought.
What was so interesting was like with them being so close, like they go up, they're singing, and like they'll like look around into like the audience. Like I was getting like uncomfortable like maintaining eye contact. So I was like, I can't keep looking at you. I'm just gonna like look around, even though like I was just like, I can't.
It was funny because like they're scanning the crowd, and I'm like, you're looking at me right now. That makes me uncomfortable. Yeah, it's just fun.
It was also kind of nice. So they did their 5 albums. They technically have like 6, but they didn't do their first one really. And then they did like a couple singles that are pretty popular. So how it worked was like they're taking you through all the albums in one night. That's the whole point of the tour. But since their newest album is not as well known, I thought it was smart that they like intermixed it in with like between some of the other albums. They would do just a few songs in between and then switch to like the next album instead of like waiting for it all to be at the end, because then like no one would really like be as invested.
Head out.
I of course knew most of the new songs as well, but it's definitely like not as in my brain as the other ones.
And then I also liked how they had a screen that was playing stuff on top, like between the different albums of like scenes and like
from that era,
from that. And it's just cool because like they started when they were so young. It's like them as teenagers, running around, and like just seeing that progression as they get older was cool.
Let's talk about some of our favorite moments from specific songs, because they do like similar choreography, and like there's key parts of like different songs where it's like I've seen TikToks of different things and I was like, I knew stuff was coming. I feel like the biggest one that I was waiting for was Vacation Eyes. And even though I'm a Nick girly, like Joe takes over Vacation Eyes for his verse. And I like the little high five that they do when they're passing each other to kind of hand it off to each other. But I recorded that. I posted it on my TikTok in hopes that it would go viral like some of the other TikToks.
Not quite.
It did not.
I felt like this massive urge every time. I've always like, I feel like sometimes I go to or see people at concerts and I'm like, can you like chill with your phones, you guys? Like enjoy the moment. But being that close, like every time someone's like walking over to our side, I was like, I have to record this just in case something becomes of this. I was like, I don't know what it would be, but I did try to like be mindful of like, okay, set the phone down. Like I wanted to get like the key moments, like you said, Vacation Eyes,
Only Human,
where they like crouch down and stuff, and like songs that I really enjoyed. Like I wanted to like have that moment for that.
Like one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song from Happiness Begins, is I Believe. That's like Nick Jonas's main song, and there's like part of it he came in our little corner where he's right next to us in front of us. I have to record part of this.
So, but otherwise I was trying to be mindful of like set the phone down, like live in the moment, enjoy it. So I think we did like a good mix of that. There are some people that you can definitely tell like phones up the entire time, which then I'm like also just, no offense you guys, but like if you're just holding your phone up and you're not adjusting the lighting, like this video is crap.
Yeah. There's also it was kind of funny, so they have like a little intermission at some point that's like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes long, and during the intermission there were 2 other girls like on the floor who had a poster where it was like they were going around asking people which version of Jealous do you want them to sing, Nick's version or Joe's version, because at the beginning of the tour Joe was singing like the second verse. And
on this tour,
wasn't it, or has it not been this whole tour?
I thought it was like on the last tour that Joe had his moment.
Anyways, for whatever reason on this tour, maybe it's been like this the whole time, I don't know, but Nick does the whole thing, and like so Nick has his song, and then Joe will do Cake by the Ocean from when he was with the NCE. And so they were going around like polling people, having them mark down which version they wanted. And it was just fun.
Something else who's related to just like recording videos and stuff at the concert. I'm all for everyone like getting a good, fun video. But there was one particular person that I noticed who must have been there with her boyfriend, fiance, husband, someone.
It was crazy. No, like that was like influencer in the wild like level. And like he seemed like he could not have been having less fun of a time.
Yeah. Like he was recording her like flash on and everything. And she was like turning away from the performance towards the camera and like lip syncing
to the camera.
To the song. And I was like, really, why did you come to the concert?
Yeah.
Like, do you enjoy the Jonas Brothers? It was weird.
And also, like, not just that, but then, like, when there were songs that I feel like are kind of, like, even if he's, like, not a Jonas Brothers fan, there could be songs where it's, like, more meant for, like, couples, or it could be kind of, like, a nice song to just, like, if you're at a concert with your significant other and there's, like, a meaningful song that comes on, I feel like it lends you an opportunity to just, like, be in the moment with
like, Love Bug or something gives couples to, like, you know, you hug and be like, oh, like, we love each other.
There was a couple times that I would look over and he was either like sitting down and like just not invested at all, or like, I mean, that was him every time I looked around. It was like he just looked like he did not want to be there. I felt like that was a missed opportunity on both their parts.
I was looking around every once in a while too. There's obviously like guys that were there that were fans and stuff, but you can tell when a guy is there because his girlfriend dragged him there, or his wife or whoever, because they're just like standing and like maybe mouthing the words to like some of the popular songs that they might know, but like otherwise just standing there chilling. And I'm like, well, you should invest in learning some. I was like, that, you know what that made me think? I was like, I would love to go to a concert where like the artist has like primarily like male following. Like, do you guys sing to songs?
It'd be interesting because like,
do you sing and dance to songs?
The demographic was 95% female.
And we were out having a good time.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, like, artists that have predominantly male audiences have. Do you think it's predominantly male?
I think it'd be, like, 50-50. I bet. I feel like it'd be a lot of couples, honestly.
It's fair. I just am like, do you guys, like, sing and dance to your concerts? Like, or is it just because you're not interested in this artist that you're like, I don't care? Or,
like, rappers probably have. I don't know. Like, what is, like, the most, like, demographically male audience? Because, like, girls will listen to anyone, but, like, who has, like, only guys that listen to them? Probably no one. I will look into this later.
I don't know. But that was something that I thought about. I was like, you guys need to let loose.
There's also, so they sang Little Bird, and they said, or some person, I don't know how far in advance this was, like, planned or what, but Joe did, like, a gender reveal at the end of the song for someone. So that was cool. And
someone proposed during
Love Bug.
Was it Love Bug?
I think so.
So they showed them like on the screen. Like,
it was funny because like Nick or Joe started like tapping Nick to like point to say like look.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah. And I was like, what happened? And then eventually it showed the couple on the screen.
What else? I was gonna say, Nick Jonas did sing Red Dress. I think he has been doing that.
He has
for
been
like
doing
pretty much the entire tour
because he knows like we're the fans. We want it. Give it to us.
What
are
some songs that you like wish that they would have gotten more of, or like whether it's from their individual songs that they would have sang? I do wish, and like obviously I know that it's only so much time in the night. It was like a 3.5 hour show.
Mm-hmm.
However, I wish, because Happiness Begins is like probably my favorite album from them, and we like got a lot more of those songs in their entirety at like the previous tour, because it was the Happiness Begins tour, like specifically for the release of the album. But it was like, you know, kind of the same as the first few albums where it was like a mishmash of the songs. So I was like, I want more of that song. Hesitate was very sad.
It was sung in its entirety.
It was. So was I Believe. Very sad. There were like a lot of people crying.
Yeah.
During that song.
And like everyone, like you could tell Joe was like
everyone looking straight at the screen. Because from where we were at, we couldn't see his face.
I wonder if they did that on purpose or if like he'd been doing that the whole show.
I was wondering it too. Where like they were very zoomed out.
There was like a backstage.
It was kind of dark and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but like everyone was like trying to look at his face during the song.
But props to him for.
It's just so sad. Like that's probably like one of my favorite songs of theirs. And so like it's sad. Yeah. I didn't get to like enjoy it for like its full meaning and stuff because of what's going on. But
loud cheers after that song. I think everyone was just trying to like be supportive. Yeah.
What else?
There was no encore. I don't know if like I know they have played
Let me talk
my
on
music at one
other
of these
songs.
concerts, so I don't know what has to go on for them to like play any other like
I don't
song
know.
not on the playlist or set.
Other things that I wish they would have done. Nick Jonas had a full album that he made during the pandemic, like between Happiness Begins and their newest album. And the only time you heard any of those songs was during the intermission. They played This Is Heaven, like, during the intermission. Obviously, it was just, like, on the speaker and stuff. But I was like, you should have included, like, some of those.
It's the Jonas Brothers concert, though.
Well, they did, like, they each had their own
Yeah, they each had their
single. I wish they would have done Chainsaw. I know they do Jealous because it's, like, his most popular single. And same with Cake by the Ocean. I was like, Toothbrush, you know.
Okay, during Burnin' Up, they had like flames going on the stage. Those dancers had to have been toasted because it was warm where we were sitting. I can't imagine being where some of those dancers were at on the stage. Like makeup melting off is what it would have been. I also feel like it's just like the older albums with like their most popular songs, like the note hits and you're just like, oh my God. And start freaking out because like
we had like a lot of those moments, which was again nice in the same way that for Bruno Mars was kind of different because he would like switch up the beginning of his song so much.
Bruno Mars, I was like constantly just like, what is this song
that you like didn't know until he like literally started singing, and so it was like you like waiting to see what song is next. Versus Jonas Brothers, like they're not changing up the songs.
Like I could tell what songs they were leading into usually.
Boom,
and or
no
hits
hits
like start
and you get excited.
Yeah. And Bruno Mars, I feel like, is also just, like, more, like, present day. Like, there's not really, like, a whole lot of nostalgia I have for a lot of his songs. Versus Jonas Brothers. I do. I was younger.
What do you think of, like, their, like, just show setup with, like, the stage setup and, like, lights, camera, whatever?
Pretty pleased. I don't have really any complaints. I understand, like, they had the separate stage to, like, get closer to the people on the other side of the arena. But I was like, I didn't like when they went over there. Because I
can't see anything.
Couldn't see them very well. Or, like, it was, like, the backs of them that I was seeing. But I get it.
Yeah. We see it. They had, like, a walkway that they do between the stages. And, like, we didn't even get a good view of them when they were walking. Because, like, everyone else is in our way.
But we were right up to in front of the stage when they were on. So,
So we had great seats. I wouldn't change a thing.
I know. I was honestly like, I was kind of nervous having floor seats when I didn't fully like. I've never had a floor seat before, so it's kind of like, is it gonna be like a bad idea to like have a floor seat? Am I gonna be like behind a bunch of people on the same level and I can't like see very well?
But they're high enough.
It's not. Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I wasn't like trying to like look over anyone, so it was all fine.
Kevin did a great job with his guitar playing.
Yes, he did. I feel like, I mean, there would be like little bits and pieces where like they like aren't singing and they'll like talk and share a little bit of like, you know, do a little backstory or whatever, and the thing artists do between songs sometimes, and that was all like good and fine. I love the Jonas Brothers no matter what, so like increased stage presence isn't necessary for me, but like they're different in that like they're the Jonas Brothers and they're not Bruno Mars, and like Bruno Mars has like a different kind of stage presence, but all good. Both are good.
I feel like Bruno Mars, like his
He's
stage presence.
Yeah, that's what he is.
Like he is like, I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna put on like an event for you all. And not to say like the Jonas Brothers are like,
they are like
singers in their own right, but like I wouldn't say they're dancers.
Yeah,
they kind of like
they're just like performing their music,
right,
and trying to have like a good show with it.
But Bruno Mars is like, this is the dance with the music, and like
so it's just
choreographed.
Different. Yeah,
versus
both amazing shows. Like, to be honest, as someone who hadn't been to like a legitimate concert until like 2016, I never thought I would be like as invested to be traveling to go to concerts.
2 concerts
especially
in 1
twice
year that
in
we
the
traveled
same year.
to.
And then also honestly like considering going to like Bruno Mars for like a split second again, because like one of our friends like asked, but I was like, I can't do that again.
Haley loves the Jonas Brothers too, and Haley was like, oh, I'm jealous, like I want to go to a show, and they technically have one in Minnesota. Again, we said that we wouldn't go because it was on Sunday or something, But Megan's like, low key, like, we go again because Haley wants to go. Haley said that she might try and convince Ashton to go with her. I think, when is it? November
something on a Sunday.
So,
Haley, if you're listening, you do it.
Haley, if you're listening,
go.
You got to convince Ashton. That's your reward for when he finishes his test. All of the work that you've put in while he's studying.
All the work he's put in.
Yeah, that's your reward.
And his reward.
Yeah. He says he doesn't like the Jonas Brothers. Go to that show and then he can decide. Decide after you've invested that much money if you like them or not.
You don't have to spend a whole bunch on tickets. It'd be an affordable trip.
Anyway.
And you'd make your wife happy.
That being said, let's talk about, like, if we think it was worth it or not for, like, what we spent versus what we got out of it.
No regrets.
I agree. I mean, we were sitting there, like, literally before the concert started, and I was like, obviously you have to be smart with your financial decisions. This is not financial advice, but we weren't, like, breaking the bank and, like, you know, wondering how we're going to make ends meet after purchasing these tickets.
Yeah.
You know, it was just, like, more expensive than what some people potentially would have spent. Or, like, you know, we didn't go about it, like, the cheapest way.
Here's the thing. Everyone spends their money in ways that matter to them. I wasn't going to do this for just, like, a random, like, oh, I'd go to this person's concert, but, like I care about the Jonas Brothers. They're one of my top artists. I know all their songs. Well, like, I now know. I now know all their songs. But ever since, like, their rebirth in...
Because, like, that's what's interesting about us is that we were, like, general fans when they, like, were first big.
Like, knew all the popular songs.
You know, we were Disney
and watched
viewers.
Their shows and...
But, like, we didn't really become big fans until Happiness Begins.
Yeah.
And that, like, started our love for them. And then this concert gave us the chance to actually, like, spend time going back to listening to their backlog and getting to love that stuff.
Yep. Can't say I wouldn't go to this again for the same tour. One show's enough for this level of commitment. If I were to go to a different show, I'd be getting cheaper tickets.
Anyway, concert ended. There was an intermission.
I said that.
Oh, okay. Concert ended around 11:30.
11.
Luckily, we didn't have to Uber or drive or anything. Our hotel was just a block away. So
our trusty G7X has been continuing to do as well.
We literally took, like, we took some pictures in the venue, took a couple outside, and, like, called it a day. Do I wish we could have spent more time, you know?
Maybe, but, like,
getting a good photo.
But okay.
It was okay. They both made the Instagram. So.
Like, the G7X postable photos to total pictures taken has a much higher percentage than phone.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's true.
Anyway, then we got back to the hotel, and
the hotel elevator. While I was mathing, like, when we had to get up for the flight, like, I was, like, crying on the inside because I was like, this is worse than I suspected.
You're like, it's 11 o'clock.
By the time we get back to our room and, like, change, it's 11:30. It's a half-hour drive to the airport, even for some reason.
At 3 a.m.
At 3 in the morning.
And we got to get up at 3. Our Uber was ordered for 3:15. So we got up at 3 a.m. So I was like, oh, we got 3.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah. That was, like, it was doable. Fine. And honestly, like, I wasn't even, like, falling asleep, passing out in the Uber either. We were awake enough, although I was, like, actively, as we were, like, traveling, going to the airport, I was actively looking at places to try and sleep in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport because we had, like, a 2 to 3 hour layover. So I was like, if there's somewhere we can sleep, please. There's a website.
We'll get to that in a second. Anyway, so pro tip for anyone who has, like, an early morning flight where it's like you want to get up and get out the door, do as much as you can the night before. Like, I'm changing in my airport outfit as much as I can before the night, packing most of my toiletries up, like clearing the shower if you have stuff in there. Everything is packed so that when you wake up, you have, like, I throw my charger in, I throw my glasses in, throw my toiletries in, like, we're good. And we were, like, out the door at, like, 3:07 or something, having woken up at 3. So we were efficient with that. We go downstairs and, like, check out, and the Uber pulls up. Now we're in the airport.
So there's a website it was like sleepingairports.com. I don't know if it's actively updated or anything, because I'll tell you what, the information they gave me
Was crap.
was not helpful. Because I was looking stuff up, and I knew at which terminal we would end up in, and both the gate that we arrived at and the gate we were leaving at were in Terminal C. And so I was looking at the website, and it was sorted by airport, and it gave me information like specific terminals, and it gave me a few different, call them travel lounges, near whatever gates it said in Terminal C.
There was no lounge.
Like, and then it mentioned like there's like some couches available. Like, a couch would be nice. Okay, that's what I was trying to look for. Anything that looked like I could sleep on it. There was, the extent of what we found were the airport chairs with like the extended leg rest kind of. So that's where we ended up getting
Also,
settled.
I have no idea what was going on in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, but it was freezing for the entire 3 hours we were there. It's like that moment when you get off the plane and you're in the what's that called? The jet bridge, where you're like, oh, it's kind of chilly. But it never when I get in the airport, then I'll be good. And you like walk to the airport and you're like, it's still cold out here. You're like, maybe it's because like we just got the jet bridge, like some of the air is coming in. I keep walking further down. I am still cold. I was cold the entire 3 hours that we were in the airport. Like shivering, freezing.
I
was like just waiting to get back onto the next plane. I was like, it has to be warmer in there. And so that was miserable as well. Got Starbucks, of course, in that airport at some point too, because I had to eat.
I don't find any answers. Tried to sleep on the chair recliner thing. Didn't really work because I couldn't really get comfortable at all. And then what I looked up, but like I didn't feel like going to another terminal. And also this costs money if it even is a thing. I don't know if it even is a thing anymore because like it could be outdated. But from my research, I found that there is something called like minute lounges or minute pods. I don't remember. Something with like minute in it. And it's like something you'd go to like pay. I think like $48 for like an hour was like the rate that it said for like a little private room with like a twin bed that you could like sleep in. And like
that's gonna be so gross. Like just like how often do you think they would clean that out?
I would hope after every one.
You'd hope.
Anyways, I mean it can't be that much different than like all the airport lounge chairs that you're trying to sleep on anyways.
I guess.
Anyways, I was like so desperate that I was like, I'm almost about to go to Terminal D, but I didn't because I was just like, if we get there and it's not even there, like I'm gonna be so mad. And then also like, do I want to pay $48 to maybe sleep? So I didn't, and
I thought for sure by the time that our flight had boarded to go from Dallas back to Des Moines, I was like, I'm actually doing pretty well. Like maybe I'll stay up. I got like a ton of snacks, like a Cheez-It bag. I got a Coke. I got some Oreos. I was like, I'm hungry. I'm ready to like munch on my flight back. I get on the plane. I don't open anything back up. I had some Cheez-Its when I was still technically sitting, waiting to board. But when I got on the plane, I was asleep the entire time.
Surprisingly, like out of the 3 flights we had already had, I've been trying to get so comfortable, like leaning on like the window, leaning forward against the seats. Like I was trying every position to get comfortable, and I felt like I couldn't. On that flight, I just sat straight back in my chair. It was the most comfortable I'd been like the past 2 days.
Do you ever use like the foldy parts of the headrest?
Sometimes, but that one didn't have any.
Yeah, that one was kind of weird. It wasn't that bad to sleep though. No. Clearly, I fell asleep in like 2 seconds. But like, I mean, they're not that great, but like they're not worthless. They give you a little, like little something.
You can lean your head over and have a little.
But then
something.
You gotta be really careful. Like you get a crick in your neck so easily when you're sleeping on a plane.
Yeah.
You gotta reposition. Like I was like, I'd lean on it and then I would like try and back up against it, so I'd like angle my head the other way to even myself out. Because I was like, I can feel the crick forming in my neck.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, we got back to Des Moines by like 11:30.
You know what? Sometimes like you like will cross your legs and like put your hand, under your leg. I'd fallen asleep like that, and I was like, my finger is gonna fall off. Like that's how numb it felt.
There was like one time I was sleeping on the plane, like leaning against the window, and like my elbow made like the whole bottom of my arm go numb. So.
Also, Megan, like historically on planes, if she falls asleep, like
for some reason I get like
jump,
giant
like
twitches
so much.
So I had one giant twitch where Ciera was like, "Oh my god!" But there was one time when we were going to the Bahamas, and Like, I don't know what happened, but my jump included me, like, my entire arm lifting up and, like, hitting the ceiling of the plane. So, and, like, I don't think I twitch that much in my sleep when I'm just, like, sleeping in bed.
No, I think it has to do with your body positioning. Almost like, I'm sure you didn't have, like, a dream where you feel like you're falling, but I feel like it's that sensation in your body that happens to cause you to jump, which obviously only happens when you're upright.
Yeah. Anyways, that was the
Then we got
that
back
was
to
the
Des
trip.
Moines, and we were back around noon. So we had the whole rest of the day to kind of get things settled. Vegas was a perfectly good boy. Not perfect, but you know. Haley watched him. She watched him with Henry. And so Megan and I were just like, wow, we watched Vegas together. And he's annoying.
Even then, we're like,
and
oh
Haley
my
was
God.
watching him by herself with the baby. So
Snaps
go
for
Haley.
her.
Now he's also sleeping right now. This podcast has taken a few bouts to record. But we thank you for your patience, and hopefully you couldn't tell that we had to split this up a couple times. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram if you want to see the real life happenings of everything we talked about. New vlog coming to our Megan and Ciera YouTube channel on Saturday. I feel like it turned out very well. I put some time into editing that one. So
Yeah, we will talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.